We're joined now by, he's not a rocket scientist, but he may be the best dressed guy in Boston. He's also the president and CEO of Embrace Boston, Imari Paris Jeffries. Imari, good to see you.
Great to see you both.
Oh, wait a second. And a recent PhD for which we share our congratulations.
Thank you. Now I am actually a rocket scientist.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Or
Can you
some
believe
kind
that?
of scientist.
Can you believe that?
Imari, it's good to see you.
But I was wondering, I mean, we're not far from the Embrace, but we're a little bit of a hike. So there must be some plans here about people going to visit the Embrace. What's happening with are there shuttles or taxis or Uber or what?
Yeah, there's part of some tours around the Embrace and the Black Heritage Trail, the Museum of African American History. And so, we want people to experience Boston and not just be at the Seaport and the Convention Center, although this is a great neighborhood. And so Boston has a lot to offer. And I think there's even some things happening in a few of the neighborhoods that we hope some of the incoming folks go and visit.
As powerful as I know I speak for Marjorie as we think the dedication of the Embrace and its existence is, even though Paris said that she does connect to those who talk about the eroticism. I don't know if you heard that a couple of minutes ago. You can discuss that with Paris if you choose individually.
It is an embrace between a husband and a wife, so there is a little erotic undertone to that, I would
it
say.
seems to me almost as if it was planned, and I don't think it was. The 1-2 punch, for lack of a better expression, of the Embrace dedication in January, and then the NAACP Convention with delegates from all over the country by the thousands and thousands coming here, it seems to me sort of multiplies the message manyfold. Am I being unduly optimistic or no?
No, I think you're right. And remember when the convention was coming to Boston, there was no Embrace. There was going to be a big hole in the ground.
Oh, that's a great point.
So it's symbolic, and I think even more meaningful that 3 years later, not only do we have a different landscape in our city, a different landscape in our leadership, a city council.
Perfect.
You got it.
Yeah.
A city council that's super diverse. We have an Embrace, and so we are a different city than we were when the convention was going to be here. No longer a hole in the ground, but filled with an Embrace, filled with love and filled with meaning.
We spoke to you on the day of the dedication and saying, if as great as the monument to the kings and all they stood for was, if it was a one and done thing, obviously its impact would be far less than what you're planning. We talked about is it called the Embrace Center? Is that the latest name? I know the name has changed.
Right now is the Embrace Center. Could be the Browdy Center, depending on,
how much I donate, exactly.
Right, we are fundraising for it. So it's 31,000 square feet of museum, a music hall in the former site of Connolly's Tavern. So that was a famous jazz juke joint in Lower Roxbury, Boston, and an incubator small business center. And so we want to continue to work. We made 3 commitments when we decided to build this monument. One is to build the Embrace. The other was to raise $1 million for 12th Baptist Church and to donate to 12th Baptist Church. And then lastly, to build a center of economic development in Roxbury. And so we are well on our way.
What's the timetable?
And so the major partners are My City of Peace and HYM, so Tom O'Brien and Reverend Jeffrey Brown. And so they just signed the agreement with the city. And so we imagine about 35 months from now, we'll be standing, breaking a bottle of champagne and opening the doors.
So you thought a lot about these kinds of things, what the Embrace can mean to Boston, what the center can mean to Boston. Many people, Tanisha Sullivan, Michael Curry, talking about what this convention could mean to Boston. So being optimistic, well, I suppose you don't have to be optimistic, but what do you think it can mean to Boston?
Yeah, Jim and I were joking around yesterday at the opening event and talking about that, the reason that, Boston has a lot of conventions. This place sees a lot of conventions, but I think the reason that this convention is more meaningful to our city because it's a test. Right? And Boston has a reputation of not being a friendly place, being a racist place, being a place that does not have a significant black community. All the things that we know is not true. And I think yesterday when the chairman of the NAACP said there has been no greater welcome than what the city of Boston has extended to the NAACP and the convention than the city of Boston. I was looking at you when he was saying that because I couldn't have felt more proud. So it was an amazing moment, and I think it's not lost on all of us that what this convention means for Boston.
We just were mentioning this a couple of minutes ago, but every time you go by the Embrace, whether you're driving or walking through the Common, or you see something about it on TV or online or whatever, there's always crowds of people there. Usually there's a half dozen people inside it. So it's apparent to me anyway that the Embrace is made its mark in just a very short time. What do you hear?
Yeah, I think it's doing what we hoped it would do. You know, earlier, a couple of weeks ago, the actors' strike was outside of the Embrace. Yesterday, I saw a live music performance by young people who were at the Bach Center City of Boston summer program performing at the Embrace. There's visitors, there's older adults, there's young people, there's children. And so it's meant to be the site that, you know, brings contemplation. It's a meeting point. It's a place of origin. It steps from the Parkman Bandstand where King spoke. I think all the things that we want it to be so far, it's hitting the mark for us.
You know,
and by us, I mean the city.
One of the things I love about Michael Curry, who joined us at the top of the show and obviously was instrumental on the National NAACP board, former president of Boston chapter, to bring this convention here, he sugarcoats nothing, which I think is really important if you want to make change in this world. And I asked him a question at the top about, you know, change in the city, and he said, come on, there's still, I'm paraphrasing, there's still racism here, there's still segregation here, there's still those kinds of things. We have a mayor of color. She's going to join us in about 45 minutes. The city council looks totally different than it looked even just a handful of years ago, but it still is a segregated city to a great degree. What breaks that logjam, Imari?
I mean, all that's true, but you have to remember that all of these leaders, a new mayor, the city council, a lot of the civic leaders, BECMA, Embrace Boston, Boston While Black, these organizations didn't exist in their form a few years ago. And so we're still in our freshman year. And so I think, you know, we want progress to happen quickly. We want it to happen fast. And I think the result of the leadership in place right now is progress. And so folks have a lot to be proud. It was not easy. It was not overnight. Boston was one of the last cities to have a diverse mayor, a black mayor of major cities in the country. Right. And so we got to celebrate the progress. We still have work to do, but the first thing about winning a championship is to get the right players on the team in the right positions. So I think we're doing that.
Speaking of progress, what's your PhD in?
It is in higher education administration, and so, you know, unfortunately, I just came back from the funeral of Angela, Keith Motley's daughter, and Keith Motley, who is the longtime chancellor of UMass Boston, a friend of mine, and so I have aspirations to one day follow in his footsteps and be a college president, and so higher education administration is what my degree is in, and it was a lot related to, my research interests were related to what we were doing at the Embrace, which were building socialization engines for change, and so that's what I studied in my program, and so I hope to do that. It's also the 1-year anniversary of my own wedding today, and so I'm celebrating the first part, and so I'm bearing gifts to you. Last time I was here,
today?
I brought gifts, and so these are commemorative Embrace coins.
Thank you. Thank you.
By the way, you know, everybody is listening and saying how kind of him to do that. First of all, we weren't invited to the wedding. And when we found out Michael Curry, was it Mexico? Is that where you remember?
Yes.
It was in Mexico.
Okay, he's stuttering now.
Beautiful.
Michael Curry calls us from Mexico on the show. I said, what are you doing in Mexico? I'm at this guy's wedding. I said, which guy? And he says, you. So didn't you bring us a gift back from there because you felt so bad?
I did. And we have a dinner set up soon to celebrate on local soil.
Do you need
so
my
I'm looking
email,
forward
or
to
you don't need? Do you need the email?
I definitely need the emails and the phone number.
Fine.
So I'm
And you know,
waiting for that.
there's a lot of pressure because you did that beautiful video with Janae Osterholt from the Boston Globe talking about, you know, marriage and falling in love. So pressure's on, I would say, Imari. Pressure's on.
So we'll have our own celebratory Mexican wedding dinner meal together, and then we'll go stroll to the Embrace.
Congratulations on the degree, on the progress you're making with your organization, and it's great to have you. It's good to see you, Imari.
Great
Thanks
seeing
so
you
much.
both.
Be well.
Thank you.